Well, hey everybody out there in Facebook land and now YouTube land. Yay! I got my Robin Swanson YouTube hooked up to my StreamYard. So now I'm on my Robin channel and my Body, Mind, and Spirit Healing channel. And of course, Things Network. Thank you very much for having me. Hey, Joanne, my favorite Canadian. And yes, I am eating a popsicle. It is so damn good. I did a whole video eating ice cream in a fairly seductive manner on my other YouTube channel, my Madam channel. It was fun. And it got quite a few views, actually. So that was kind of fun. So, hey, Julianne, what's up? Yeah, I got quite a few views. So anyway, it was good ice cream. It was oatmeal cookie or something like that. And it was delish. I love popsicles. I'm a sucker for a popsicle. Sunday night. Oh, I kind of changed it to this show. I am calling it Ask the Witch Doctor. I'm a witch and a doctor. So, with the help of my friend Gussie, who will be here in a little bit, I decided on that name, and I think it's pretty good. I don't think I'm going to do the Madam show anymore. Well, that's awesome, Joanne. I'm glad that you like to get together with me that much that you wouldn't want to miss it. Let's see if I can get your comment in there. There we go. I'm really, my computer is so achingly slow. It's ridiculous. Well, I'm house sitting. I'm here at the art farm all by myself. It's kind of weird. It's, I'm down in Texas now and living with my cousins. Oh, here comes Gussie and Graham. Sweet. But I'm living with my cousins, and Paul is still in the hospital, sadly, but he's getting better. He's on the mend. And then Patrick had to go out of town. So I'm watching the old dog and hanging out at the house and just enjoying the art farm. It's a cool place. It's kind of hard to believe that it's like right almost downtown Corpus Christi. And it's just like almost like being in the country. It's really nice. So here I'm going to bring on Gussie and Graham. Welcome to the show. Welcome, you guys. How's it going?
Hello.
I'm having popsicle.
Hey.
It's not a bad time to have a popsicle.
I can't tell you how chuffed I was when I came on here and I saw that it says the Witch Doctor.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I was like, yeah, that stuff never actually works out.
I gave you credit for it because that's cool.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, the thing is that you do have a lot of knowledge that people need to know more about, And,
I do. And it was so much more than, yeah. I mean, because people are really, I think, wondering how to stay healthy, how to get healthy. And I know I really look like, a healthcare, model, but it's like, I can tell you what you need to know.
I'm drinking
I don't know I smell my own advice. Right?
That is, I think that's one of the most difficult challenges being, I guess, doing what we do, right? Is that, half the time, I told Grim, half the time when I'm giving advice, it's like I'm talking to myself. I'm going, listen, you, it's time to shape up, you. Because I have so much to learn. I have so much to do yet.
Well, it's like a mirror, The things you see in other people are usually things you need to change about yourself.
Right.
when we're doing the 420 live stream every other day or so, and every once in a while a card will pop up that's for me to read, and I'm like, oh, I know this one's for me. I don't want it.
I know, right? The universe sends us messages.
He's been under my tutelage for years now.
Yeah, I've decided that,
well, he must be getting pretty good then.
I now understand why I didn't like getting readings. I do love them, though. It is fun.
So how's the weather up there?
Oh, it's been beautiful here.
Oh my God.
I mean, sunny and like in the 40s. For Michigan in February, nothing. We don't usually have weather like that. This is more like what we left behind in Washington State. You know, they had great weather there in the winter. I miss that weather.
Now they're getting dumped on.
Now they're getting dumped on, and we're sitting here at 45 degrees.
Have you ever heard
which
atmospheric river before?
I mean, not until the last few years.
Yeah,
like
it's been about the last 4 years I've been hearing it.
Like I think we're all about the same age. Yeah, I think we're all about the same age.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. And also the Arctic blast. A few years ago, they had that big Arctic.
Yeah.
And I remember I'd never heard the way they phrased that either. It's all.
Oh, Julie's asking, is it man-made? It could be. It might be. I think the whole global warming thing, though. I'm kind of on the fence with the global warming thing. And the people who are worried about it the most are the ones that take private jets here and there. You know, they're not willing to do anything, and then they tell us that we shouldn't have cows. It's bullshit.
Yeah. The one that I'm sorry, Grandma. I know you were trying to say something. The thing that shocked me was meat. Maybe you're not. I think there's a delay in our feed because we start talking and then you talk. So I was gonna say I was really shocked. I think it was last week, but you know, time goes so timey-wimey anymore. I don't know. It could have been 2 weeks ago, but recently we read or heard that the World Health Organization was looking into making the recommendations that we stop producing rice. Rice. That's one of the biggest foods worldwide that man consumes. Because they say it takes more to grow rice than we have the
carbon footprint of rice is one of the.
That's bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm calling bullshit on that one.
The carbon footprint of rice.
That is
doesn't it grow in kind of murky?
Let's bring it around to a little bit of reality, though. If we're eating rice in the United States that was grown in China, the carbon footprint of that rice isn't it isn't great.
Right.
And it is one of the biggest food sources in the world that is produced by China and sent the world over.
Yeah, but now
some 80% of the rice that is consumed is from China. Well, my tin hat's on right now. So many of the world governments are starting to turn their back on China, and one of the biggest economic drivers that China has is their food exports. If they can get the rest of the world to turn their back on rice, that cuts the economic viability of China by quite a bit.
Yeah, except for the fact that how much of the world also now consumes tomatoes and tomato products.
Yeah.
And China has purchased a lot of
some 70% of all the tomatoes grown in the world are somehow touched by China.
Wow.
I'm not saying they're the bad guys, but I'm saying we've been kind of sitting here going, I don't know, you think they are?
Another thing I heard about the Chinese is that they're working with Mexico and they're pushing Chinese men up into the United States through the illegal border crossings, We're kind of sensitive to that down here on the southern coast of Texas.
watched and then did some other research on it a little bit. I want to do some more, but there's a stretch of road essentially that stretches from Alaska to Chile, or I'm sorry,
wow.
all the way down to South America. It is one continuous stretch of pavement, except for a 60-mile stretch called the Darien Gap. What that is a stretch of road. There is no road. It is such dense jungle and mountainous terrain, they can't build a road through it.
Wow.
So there's these homeless camps.
It's what separates North and South America.
Essentially. It's
right.
a 60-mile gap.
A really rugged terrain.
Every person that you see that's crossing the border that is of true South American descent that lives south of that location has to cross it. And it is dangerous. It is horribly dangerous, terrible terrain. But right next to it on the harbor that is closest to the Darien Gap, there's a massive encampment of Chinese nationals taking boats across that stretch of water and getting back on buses and planes and flying to Mexico. Yeah. So there's diversion there. The economically repressed are still being forced to take the dangerous road and route, and those that are being financed to come over are getting the nice treatments, the passports and the visas to get to where they need to be.
Well, another thing I heard was that, if you think about it, if they're refugees, if they're running from, war or strife in their country or something, isn't it mostly women and children that run? And it's the men who stay behind to fight the fight, right?
Not in this case.
We have so many, middle-aged, like working, like military-aged men crossing the fucking border. That's my question.
Okay, you want to know?
Where are the women and children? And most of the children that are crossing are they're holding them up like a human shield,
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So,
and it's got to stop. We have to, and the Constitution says that it is our duty to protect the border. So I don't even know. The president and the Supreme Court right now are breaking the Constitution. What they have done is illegal. It goes against the United States Constitution, and they need to stop. They need to assist Texas in holding up that border. And if they don't, it's unconstitutional, and they should be held accountable for that.
There's something real interesting going on.
Hemorrhage.
I didn't want to get into negative stuff with you guys. I just really wanted to shed some positivity, but you can't help it.
We need to go into the dark to know where to cast our light.
Yeah,
come on, cast the light right here.
And politically speaking, every vote that I make, and it doesn't matter if it's from the local to the national, is based on my spirituality. I'm a very politically driven pagan.
There you go. I like that.
In the last several months, I've been watching, or a couple of years now, I've been watching things take place that, spiritually speaking, I find abhorrent. Absolutely abhorrent. It goes against my spirituality. Right. And one of those things is what's happening at the southern border. Regardless of the cause and the reasons and the mandates and the laws and the rules and all of that political bullshit, people are dying.
Yeah.
On both sides of the border.
That's true.
Vote. Now, to put my tin hat on for just a minute, every major shift in U.S. history that involved war, also including allowing immigrants to come to our country and then at some point offering them citizenship to join our military to go off and fight on behalf of the United States. We have reached a point in our country now where, should President Biden suddenly offer up citizenship to all those that will join the U.S. military, how loyal are those people to the U.S. citizens who are wanting to rise up and stand?
They are not.
The military as it stands today.
And so then they can form their own militia.
Exactly. The way it is right now, the military as it stands will not raise arms up against an American citizen. It just won't happen. But if they can flood the military with people from around the world who don't give a shit, then we have a problem.
Well, they might give a shit the other way. They'd love to shoot some Americans,
Well, I mean, it's pretty weird what's happening in the world right now. Like, part of
Mhm.
me, every day I wake up and it's like something new, right? Some new
Yeah.
bullfuckery is going on. And
Yes.
part of me is like, yes, let's keep it rolling. Let's keep all of this darkness coming out into the light. Let's keep it
Mhm.
rolling. It's like, this isn't going to heal until we pull the Band-Aid off, look at the
Mhm.
layers, let it get some air.
Yep.
It's really got to start to heal.
Yes.
And it might get a little more worse before it gets a little better.
Right.
We just need to be prepared. And that's why we're always telling people we're withstanding together, leaning on one another and trying to make sense of the world together from our witchy standpoint.
Right.
Because
Well,
we do see the world a little differently.
We do, I think. And I think the first thing we can all do is when the weather starts to turn, start some vegetables of your own, start some herbs of your own, start yourself a little garden, collect your rainwater, do things like that, because that's gonna benefit your health first off. Because to be to be able to defend our country and ourselves, we need to be a little bit healthy,
We have to be healthy.
And the stuff that they're feeding us is ridiculous. It's GMO. It's it's not nutritious. It's it's poison, quite literally. Drinking water. They poisoned our drinking water with fluoride. The levels of fluoride in drinking water are so high that they're higher than the toothpaste. And on the toothpaste label, it says, if you swallow this, call poison control. And this is what they got us drinking.
They just did a study not too long ago.
It's in bottled water too.
Universities.
A
couple of universities just did a study of bottled water across the country. They did 1,000 samples of bottled water from all over the land. Every single sample had microplastics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. And all that stuff, they found it kills birds, basically. When they eat plastic, it will kill them.
Yeah. There's a bird sanctuary out in the Pacific where they had several hundred birds wash up dead, every single one of them plastic in their system.
Yeah. Isn't it sad?
Yeah, I got to say, if I were God, which I guess I am, but.
Well, yeah, we all are.
I'm working on bringing it all together, right? Like that's what
yeah.
But no, I can totally get. We've been talking for some reason a lot recently about the flood legend of like Noah and the Younger Dryas.
Yeah.
And if I was God, man, I would do the same thing. Just look what they've done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, look at my earth. Oh my goodness, what have you done? I can't put it back together like this.
Right.
Time to make it rain.
I noticed one of
it may be part of what's happening here in 2024 is, I mean, it's time for an awakening. First of all,
it is definitely.
People need to wake up and see what's going on, and not just in politics or world affairs, but they need to wake up to what's going on within themselves as well, and know that we are God. We are a part of God, and everybody else that's on this planet. We're all together on this. We're all a piece of each other, and we choose to come back in different forms in order to learn different lessons and to teach the rest of us, that maybe like war is futile. I said, well, why would anybody come back as a Palestinian refugee? I think they would come back as a Palestinian refugee to try and teach the rest of us that war is futile and there's no winners. And the only people you're hurting is yourself, in the long run. It just hurts us as a collective, psyche, consciousness.
Several years ago, I started writing a book, and it's still a work in progress, but the basic premise of it is a gentleman was on a battlefield way back when we were still slinging stones and hitting each other with sticks. He was on this battlefield. He found himself dead, and now he's sitting in front of his council of gods, and they said, if you want a chance at another life, you have to go back as your enemy. He says, sure, I'll go back as my enemy. And lo and behold, he finds himself in yet another war where once again he dies. And he goes up to his gods, and he's sitting in front of the council, and they say, have you learned anything? And he said, yes, war doesn't make sense. They says, okay. And then he moves on to the next incarnation, which is another period in history where world is in strife, and he finds himself once again in war. Yeah. And he repeats this cycle, fighting both sides of every battle that has ever been fought in human history. And between each battle, he has to report back to what he's learned. Right. And every time he keeps saying the same thing. What I've learned is mankind doesn't learn. We keep throwing sticks and stones. They've just gotten stronger.
Yeah. Isn't it terrible though? I mean, I don't know how to change that. And I wish I did. I wish I could inspire men's hearts to say, this is stupid. We've had enough. You know, we're fighting over this same piece of ground we could be, you know, eating dinner and having a picnic together on. You know,
I think we're at a super pivotal time right now.
I believe
it's like
yes.
So amazing that we're alive during this period in history, because it's going to go down.
It's scary as hell.
But you know, it's like I think that we do have an opportunity. I think we have had an opportunity for, let's just call ourselves light workers, for lack of a better way. But those of us that believe in shadow work and bringing things to light and working with energy and whatnot, the way showers, the guides, you know, we've been kind of on this path for a while, watching the rest of humanity kind of slowly figure it out. But there's been such an imbalance for so long. Finally, I feel like right now there are more people out there
yearning
for what we're talking about. I feel like more and more people are leaning toward our way of thinking. Not that I want us all to be like one mind or anything like that.
No, it's
well, we kind of are, you know. I mean, if you look at it, we're all part of the collective consciousness, you know. And I think people are starting to finally realize that, you know, that we are more the same.
We're at a point where in history right now where I think, if we want to put it in Hollywood terms, we have a choice between manifesting Star Wars universe or the Star Trek universe. One of them's kind of dark and full of fight and hurt and pain and misery, but in the end, we get there. That's the Star Wars universe. The Star Trek universe, we all work collectively, one step at a time, to achieve the final outcome.
Right. Except for those rowdy, what were they? Not Klingons, but the ones that didn't care for us.
The
I'm talking old Star Trek.
Oh, the old Star Trek?
Yeah, it was the Romulans. Yeah, Romulans. Yeah, they didn't care for the Federation. They weren't.
No, they did not.
See, there's a bad egg in every group.
Well, even in that universe, even in the Star Trek universe, you still had to have something of darkness to be able to show what the light is. That's true. I mean, you know, it's just I wish there were more light than dark nowadays, but I think
I think there is, but I think that right now the dark has been in control for so long that we've got to somehow tip the scales, and we're not quite sure how to do that yet. There's a whole bunch of us sitting on that end of the teeter-totter going, well, if enough of us pile on here, but they have had such a stronghold for so long. And the thing is, it's not just here in the United States, it's globally.
It's global, yeah.
You call it the swarm, and what that is a swarm of hornets, hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, not bees. We love bees.
We love bees. But what it is, there is a force that has been set up at some point in human history, way back in the earliest times of our development, where some energy or entity recognized the divine spark within humanity and said, oh shit, you can't have that. So things have been set into place that through the years, when mankind starts to socially evolve, when we start to reach social understandings, this swarm, this vibrational energy of dark energy just swarms out there and interrupts the pattern of the light workers, the way showers, the healers, the shamans, throws roadblocks in front of them. So it's harder for them to focus on the spirituality and the guiding, and they have to focus more on the mundane and the muggle.
Survival.
Yeah. I try to not get I try to not get bogged down in politics and all the things that are set out there to distract you, you know, the election, all that stuff like that. That stuff will play itself out no matter what I think of it or what I do about it, you know, really. I think my job here on this plane is just to get information out there to people. Things that they can use to either help wake them up, you know, to what's going on. Because, I mean, let's face it, we've been played by the upper 1%, you know, the Rothschilds and, you know, people who own everything. And they've been playing us, and they're still playing us. And some people are still falling for it. And
you want to hear something scary?
Yeah, go ahead.
No. One more thing, you mean?
No, I am so into history, into research, into patterns, into trends, and whatnot. It's crazy. But a few months ago, I got to doing some research. If the top 20 richest families in the world, just the top 20 richest families in the world, wanted to spend every penny that they cumulatively own, it would take them 2,000 years at $1 million a minute.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That is so much locked up potential energy sitting nowhere.
Yeah.
It's
well, and I think a lot of times businesses nowadays, we should be focusing on what can we do to help people? And that should be our business, you know? What is it that people need that we can give to them, you know? Not, you know, thinking up another little trinket or another little get rich quick thing, you know, or, you know, how to play people, whatever. I just, I'm not, I think that is a dead end, actually. And I think the thing that you're going to actually find, you know, prosperity or wealth in are things that actually help people, you know, a service to mankind. You know, if you're going to build something that will help them have power without paying the power company, you know.
I think that
brain barrels, you know.
I think that the issue with the 1% compared to those of us kind of down here in the trenches is we're learning to redefine what wealth means. Wealth means relying on friends. Wealth means having family around you. Wealth means community, being able to, you know,
live a magical life.
Right. And they're going, wait a minute, they think that it's all about wealth accumulation, and that for them is, you know, the pinnacle
it's
of
sad,
it. But we don't
because
that way.
Right. And I feel the same way as you do, that wealth is not it's not about how much money I have in the bank. It's how many people actually care about me, and do I have enough food every night, and are my kitties fed, and do I have a warm place to sleep when it's cold? That's really, to me, what's important, you know.
Success isn't how well I've done, it's how well my community is done. Not me, my community.
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
Success.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's a good way to look at things. And I wish more people could look at that, you know. But I think they're not awake, you know. They're still sleepwalking and thinking that they got to make a buck and that they got to go to work every day to this job they hate, you know. And
there's still that paradigm playing out. But for the last, 5 years or so, there have been people the world over that have been doing the same prayer over and over every night, and that is, let what does not serve us be revealed, unwound, and recycled back to new. there are so many people repeating that chant on a nightly basis that these things are happening
in various
Yeah.
forms.
in various forms. These darknesses, these energies that no longer serve our greatest good, they're being exposed, just like
Yeah.
Gussie said earlier.
Yeah,
Now
they
it's
are.
up to us, a collective community of sovereign divine beings, to address those darknesses
Mhm.
and say, now that they've been exposed, what do we do with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't fracture ourselves
And we
with
can't
blame.
pretend that they didn't happen now,
Yeah.
like we
Yes.
have done for so long.
Oh gosh,
You
yes.
know? I
You
mean,
know, it was
we've been
easier to
doing that
just, keep your head down and do your dailies and not worry about what was going on, at large. But
right.
the time has come, we can't do that anymore,
No, we
No.
can't. Nope.
And we're seeing so many people open up to that idea, that the traveling that we've done in the little communities that we settle in across the country,
hmm
we look for the small, out of the way towns with a population of only 200, 300, 400 people in the town itself, and then
Right.
there's the county, of course.
Uh-huh.
And then we advertise, come to us, witches, where are you? And
Right.
lo and behold, no matter where we go, they come crawling out of the woodwork.
I mean,
They're out there.
we've been in
They're
some
coming out
really
of the broom
desperate
closet.
Yeah.
We were driving from Washington State to Michigan in our bus. And we're driving through, I won't name what state, but it has a lot of desert scrubland. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
And I mean, lots of nothing in in every direction, It was just
Gotcha.
like everything was the same. Felt like I was on Mars. But we're driving through, and I said, well, of all the places, we're probably not going to find any witches here, because it was so out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, we pull into this little town, and there is a brand new shop that was it was like the witch's brew and vape. She was selling vapes or whatever.
nice.
But it was great. I was like, yes, representing out in the middle of nowhere.
So we stop in this little town, and lo and behold, there's magic in this. We stop in this little town for an overnight rest. We're tired of the bus. We check into a hotel. The next morning, I discover a problem with the bus when we're checking out of the hotel. Not a major problem, but it's a problem. As I'm standing there investigating what I could do to fix it, another school bus.
We were leaving the parking lot.
We were leaving the parking lot, and another school bus
not really sure what to do.
pulls into the parking lot, flashing his lights. So I stop.
Uh-huh.
And this school bus comes out, and he says, I noticed you were parked at the hotel. I know the only reason a person in a schoolie is at a hotel is they're broke down. What's your problem? Well, I problem we're having, and he spends the next 4 hours, he has me follow him to a Napa, and he spends the next 4 hours helping me trace out any and all potential problems that I could have with this bus. In the meantime, Gussie and our daughter decide to check into a hotel for another night. To heck with it. They go off to a hotel.
Yeah.
Come to find out, we end up staying there for almost a week, because every night that we stayed, almost every night, the staff at the hotel were paying for our stay in exchange for readings.
They had followed us on Facebook. And
nice. That's so awesome.
It was really an interesting, we met so many cool people.
Yeah.
So even out there in the middle of scrubland nowhere, there's witches. They're all over.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just looking for the safety in numbers and the knowing that they can come out to a world that's going to accept them as witches. And it's happening.
Right.
I love it.
Right.
Slowly but
Well, and
surely.
I think, witches don't have a corner on the market of spirituality, but I think they understand spirituality, unlike I'll just say it, unlike Christians. And I'm reading a book right now it's called The Sermon on the Mount.
Mhm.
And I think Jesus may have been a witch, honestly.
Oh, I say that all the time. I've been saying that for years.
He was very aware of the human condition and I'm locked up. Oh, there we go. Of the human condition. And he tried to let people in on what, was real and what wasn't. And he never gave us rules for living. He never gave us dogma that we had to follow or die, It was never fire and brimstone, it was never any of that. And it wasn't even,
You know-
if you're going to go to hell if you don't act a certain way. It wasn't like that. And that's not what Jesus taught. And I think a lot of
No.
Christians are confused. I'm just
A
going to
lot
say.
of Christians don't know the truth behind a lot of their religion. I mean, they
Right.
don't really understand. They blindly believe it. And that's
Right.
Their faith is built on a foundation of lies and deception.
Yeah.
And they can't
Yeah.
blame them for that.
Well, no.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, Jesus knew how to work with energy. He could heal
Mhm.
people.
Yep.
I know he studied Gnosticism,
Mhm.
so he was aware of the occult, and he knew about the Kabbalah. You know, there's so much more to him than what I believe the Christian church really portrays. And I'm so excited because Graham, there's a local, I talk about this all the time. There's a local pastor here in town who once in a while will come to our Mystic Fairs that we're hosting, our pop-up markets
nice.
that we host once a month.
Uh-huh.
And I could not identify what this man looks like. I've never actually seen him myself.
Okay.
Because I'm doing readings on that day. But he has stayed here with Grimm for hours at a time, just talking about religion back and forth. And they're talking about doing a podcast together.
Oh, that'd be
So
interesting.
It would be really interesting to have a pagan and the preacher, you know. I keep saying yes.
I know, right?
I think that's a long overdue conversation.
What I find so fun, though, is so many of our spiritual-minded friends, other witches in our life, either online or in person, when they find out that I'm having these long talks with the minister, they immediately crinkle their brow and go, "Is he trying to convert you?"
Yeah, no, he's not.
So I do understand that both sides of the religion and spiritual line have fears about the other side.
They do.
And what I love about him is he's willing to sit down and have honest discussion without conversion therapy being involved.
Yeah, and I think that's good.
Different.
And honestly,
and I walk away.
Oh, I think
I
that
walk away from those conversations much richer in the way I.
Right. Well, and I think it's just we have more commonalities than we do differences, really, when you get down to it. Because, it's not about religion. There's so much more to who we truly are in our spirit, our soul. What our soul is so much more than anyone in any religion has ever addressed. I think.
Right.
Well, even in the Bible, it states our body is nothing more than a vessel.
Right.
It's just, how do we interpret that? I say it's a vessel for my own divine.
Yes.
My own connection.
I agree with that.
And the interesting part about it is, we're all on our own sovereign journey through this life. We're here to learn as many things as we can, lighten our load, have a higher perspective, so that when we do cross over, we do have a lighter feather on the other side. But at the same time, oh shit, what was I about to say?
I don't know. You must not have been alive. The devil would make you forget that.
I hate it when you say that, because then I start listening to you and there's no chance I'm going to remember what it was.
Oh, well.
It was about what you guys were just talking about.
Spirituality and how our soul is so much more than what we actually, what religion covers, and he was talking about a vessel. We're a vessel for our divine, we're a part of the divine.
And that's what I was going to say is it's so interesting that a lot of people, some of our students get a little confused because they're like, well, Gussie, you're talking about me being on my sovereign journey, which means unique and alone. But yet you're talking about going back to this divine consciousness where we're all like together. And I said, yes, but the more you find out about who you are and where you come from, the more, I don't know, the circle becomes smaller and smaller.
But the less isolated you feel.
Yes, exactly. It's interesting.
Yes, because we're all connected.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that I think the way I look at it is we're all like a small piece of the divine. We're a small piece of God that he sent out and said, go learn this for me. I can't, I don't really want to go everywhere all at once. So I'm just going to send you out and you're going to learn something for me. And then you're going to come back and report on what you learned so that I can then have all of that information. So we become we go back to being a part of the collective consciousness of God, if you want to call it that, after we die. Whether we stay there or not is different, But I think that we're all, we all are on that quest, and we're all really a part of the divine. So I don't know if you guys feel that way, but
is that what we just all said? I thought that's what we all
said. Well, there we go. So we're all on the same page with that one.
And
yeah, we do feel that way.
And yes, we are all connected, spiritually speaking, really speaking.
Yeah.
Vibrationally speaking, we are all connected in that vibration. It's like, and the way I like to picture it, I don't know where I came up with this imagery, if it was told to me or what, but it's just this massive cosmic spider web. The threads of the web are each of us, and the spaces between the threads are where we live our lives.
Right. And you define who I am, and he helps define who I am by how you perceive me. And so I believe that we are all connected. Yeah. And as we do lighten our load, let go of some of our shadows and some of the grief that holds us back from really living a happy, fulfilling life, I think as we get back to that natural state of existence, we do find out that we are a greater part of everything. I think that is that divine connection. And I'm so excited to be on that path. But it is frightening.
And that's where my tin hat comes into play, because I think mankind's been here before on the precipice of actual spiritual understanding, and that hive that is set out against us has found ways to completely abolish civilization to the degree that we have to start all over again.
Right.
You go back through the histories and the lores of all of civilizations. It's all a rebuilding. It all meant their civilization came to an end, and we are starting afresh anew with the start of two people. Yeah. All of these myths go back to that. And it's all based on we were destroyed for the knowledge that we had accumulated.
Yeah.
And how we were applying it was wrong.
Yeah.
So here we are again.
Here we are again.
Yeah, here we are again, applying the knowledge incorrectly. Because, mankind could be so much more. Here's the thing. I mean, this is just a stupid little thing, but it makes me wonder, Okay, in Rome, they had working toilets, right? They had indoor plumbing, hot, cold running water. Why is it then that all of those years in the Dark Ages, it took until, 1900 or something to get actual indoor plumbing, flushable toilets, running water, all that stuff? Why did it take us all that time, when the technology was there? I know it's kind of a silly, frivolous question, but golly,
It goes back to that swarm thing, because the fall of Rome was at a time when Rome and the rest of the world was really starting to come together as far as spirituality goes.
Right.
And that negative force once again said, fuck this, and tore civilization down. Rome fell. Other civilizations at the same time fell, and then we had to start all over again.
I mean, when you think about the Dark Ages, that followed an age of enlightenment, period. And then the plagues hit, and there were things, people were just in survival mode.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you think about how far civilization really went down, at least from our ancestry standpoint. It went down to a very small number of people.
Yeah.
And the mere fact that we're all here, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. And we're all cousins. So we're all cousins. The earlier we learn that, the better, I think.
And I go all the way through human history when I say these cycles have been repeating themselves. At one point in human history, they estimate the human population was down somewhere around 300 people after a massive event took out most of mankind.
Right.
So we have rebuilt from as little as a population of 300 people to
Wow.
what we are today. And that means a lot of light has had to have been pushed out there in order for us to get to where we are today.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not all darkness.
Yeah. And where we are today is not really ideal, but Irene says good morning. She's in Japan.
Hi, Irene.
Hi, Irene. So it was snowing.
I want to say good night, Irene.
She was showing earlier today on Facebook that it was snowing in Japan, so they're getting a little bit of snow. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Her and I we used to video chat, and she'd take me around her house and her flower beds and stuff and show me around. So, yeah.
We live in such a beautiful time now because we have this understanding that spiritually, energetically, we're all connected. And now we have this wonderful technology of the internet that will allow us to connect on an energetic level.
On an energetic level, but is it really on a deeper level or more meaningful level? I sometimes wonder about that. And anymore, with AI, you can make things up and make it seem as though it's real, and you got to be careful because it's not always.
Yeah, I know.
It's
difficult as an admin on the Purple Door. It's difficult because every once in a while a bot will show up and interact with people. And it takes a little while to figure out that it's a bot. But once you do, it makes a lot of sense. But, there's some things that we're learning to look for. But I would say I feel like my online experience has been really transformative because I just read a memory today. I first joined Facebook in 2009, January or February of 2009, February 2009. And I started the Purple Door. It was originally called Bell Book and Candle, and we started Purple Door in 2015 under that name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a really wonderful gathering of people. The list stays kind of small. It never really grows past 6,000 and never has. I don't know why. It's just some kind of, interesting little formula out there that it never really grows past, and we're fine with that. We've got a relatively small group of people, 6,000 or so. And within that, we have some folks that really, I feel, have bonded together as a community. Yeah. And I don't think you find that in a lot of the other witchcraft groups out there right now. I think, I'm not saying we're unique because I think there are others out there that feel the same way. But I think
I think that the Purple Door is fairly unique. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Here's to it. I think so.
I got water. I'll go with that. I had a little wine earlier, but I drank it.
I think it's the reason that the Purple Door for us is as successful as it is by our definition is because it's truly being built around the magic of community.
Right.
Yeah.
We want every person to feel that they honestly have a voice in the direction that the group goes or what the discussions are.
Right.
So
and you'll redirect people who are not positive in their attitudes and in their minds and in what they say. You'll redirect that shit.
I tried.
As a moderator. Oh yeah. Sometimes
I've booted a few. Yeah.
It's better than letting that bad apple ruin the whole barrel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was one gal in there that I met her, years ago, probably around 2013 or 14. And she started coming to me for readings, but she was a young girl and didn't have a lot of money. So I never made her pay ever. It was just one of those freebie ones and especially as I was learning. She was one of my, guinea pigs as I was kind of getting my feelers out there and how this was going to go.
Right.
But I realized as she was talking about the same trauma stories that she had talked about 5, 6, 7 years ago, looking for different answers to the same stories, I was like, you know what? This is just feeding behavior. That's energy feeding. And so that's why in those groups, I do try to redirect toward the positive, because it's,
not to negate the negative.
No, but let's get the positive flow. You can feed off the positive flow.
Oh yeah.
You don't need to.
Well, and I think if you're still going back to the same thing again and again over years of time, you're not doing the shadow work that you need to do. You're not putting that past in the past where it should be. You're not living in the moment where you need to be. And I think that you're letting the past define you, which will keep holding you back from advancing in life, in general.
You're right. Right.
So I think that it's good. And if you can't help somebody, you kind of at some point have to stop giving them your energy, because it's not helping you and it's not helping them. It's more of like being an enabler. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's exactly what I told her. I said, I think time has come to part ways. I know lots of other healers if you'd like me to point you in the right direction, but I just don't think that I'm the one anymore.
Yeah.
And so it was difficult to do, but I'm glad I did it. I have felt my own lightness of being after letting go, because as healers also, there's a part of us that wants to heal all of them that come to us. We all want to help, but sometimes, like you said, you just gotta say, cut bait and swim.
Well, and I think too, we all have to remember that healing comes from within them. I mean, we can give them information, we can give them good energy, we can point them in the right direction, but they have to heal within themselves. They have to do the work. They have to do the shadow work. They have to face their fears. They have to face who they are, and they have to learn to deal with that.
That's why we call ourselves way showers, not way doers.
Yeah, we don't do it for you, but we can help you see. We can help guide you.
Yes, guides. I'd like to think of myself, I like, well, of course, healer. I kind of feel like I'm here to help people alleviate their suffering, through information and things like that. And I'm also here to guide them through this maze of life, and help them understand themselves better, or understand the world around them a little bit better, in an attempt to help us all,
We're all just rats in the maze, and none of us know where the exit is. So let's all look for it together.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in an escape room. This is an escape room experience. Okay.
Yeah. Irene says it too. She says, you can only help so much. If they won't listen to you, it's exhausting, because you only have so much energy to give.
Oh,
so,
wait. Yeah. I understand the premise there, but let's try and maybe tweak that just a slight bit and say you have all the energy in the world. It's how you choose to allow it to interact with the world around you.
True.
I think about it like I'm an energy vessel, and I have, there's energy all around me at all times, and I'm able to pull it in when I need it. I don't store it like a battery. I don't need to accumulate the wealth, I can let it flow and share it. But there are certain people that when they come into my purveyance, they will not only dip into my energy, they'll gouge. Yeah. They want more and more. And that's that energy vampire kind of, no offense to my vampire friends, because I don't mean anything against them, but the folks that are, let's face it, an energy vampire is someone who is not yet awake.
Right.
They're still lost in their trauma. They're still victims. They're still angry and hurt.
Yes.
And we're trying to help see, show them the light.
Right.
Look up here. It could be better. And a lot of times they want to just stay
the way I try and picture
in that darkness.
The way I try and picture it is the energy's coming through me and it comes out of me. I'm not storing it. I'm not holding it. I'm a conduit. Let it flow. And if I've got somebody in my life that's a brick wall and my energy's just hitting them, that's not doing them any good. It's not doing me any good.
Right.
Now, I could allow myself to perseverate on that and get anxious and go, God, I've already worked with this person. I've already worked with this person. And that's emotionally draining. That's it's so much about him? It's so much so much more effective to just move the fire hose and shoot it off into another direction.
Yeah,
that's how you approach life too.
And maybe you'll get lucky and it'll land in somebody else's bucket that's going to use that as a reservoir to shoot their own fire hose.
Yeah, that's been one of my lessons. Is not only, like Irene said, you've got to take a step back or you'll just get depleted. But if I don't move my own hose on my own, nobody else is going to move it for me. I need to be the one to draw the line in the sand and say no more, because people will, especially now, people are curious and scared, and there's all sorts of different emotions going on out there. So,
and I think a lot of people, they might look to us for answers, but then they don't realize that really all the answers are inside of them. And it's like you can help people to get at those answers, but really the answers they're seeking are within them, and the healing that they're looking for is already within them,
Right.
We're not going to open the door to your spirituality. We're just going to shine a light on your key and let you open your own door.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. I like that. We're just going to help you find your key so you can get in the door.
Yeah.
That's why our logo for the purple door is a little key, because, that is true. It's like we're giving you some of the tools, but you got to figure out how to use that key. You got to figure out when you want to open the door, if you want to open the door, how many doors you want to open. It's all up to you. It's everybody's.
And when it's time to open that door, sometimes you're just not in a place where you want to go digging around at what's behind that door. You have to kind of open it in your own time and to go the places you need to go. Cause like shadow work is tough, when you really look deep inside of yourself and go, okay, what do we need to do here? What is it that's really holding me back, and coming to that aha moment with ourselves, it's tough sometimes. Oh, and I got an Apache tear.
Apache tear, yeah,
these
that's cool.
Things are awesome. These are one of my favorite healing stones ever.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've got to find mine. Ever since we moved, I can't find it because it's so little, and I know it's somewhere.
Yeah, and then I got, of course, malachite. Nice little piece of malachite.
Oh, yes, nice.
So, yeah, I got some of my stones out because I put them on my keyboard to keep the negativity in there, any like trolls or people who are just looking to start a fight or something. I put my like shungite and obsidian and things like that, big quartz on the keyboard, so then it just kind of keeps it in Facebook and YouTube land.
It's a good idea. We've got crystals around here as well, but I've used them for other reasons, creativity and whatnot. I've never thought about actually. It's a good idea.
It helps. I think it helps keep things positive, and I think it helps to deflect any kind of negativity, because like I don't have moderators on this on my podcast, and I have yet to really like have to give people the boot, because they were so shitty or something. And so, I mean, I do, it does attract good vibes for me when I'm doing my podcast. So, and you guys have such great vibes.
When I do 420-ish tea and tarot, I will occasionally get some folks dropping in there trying to, I have a special feeling about you. The spirits are talking, will you please send me a message for your personal reading? But
Right.
the folks that follow us will just dive on them. Get out of here, you.
Joanne says that's okay. We have your back.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens.
See, there's the positivity at work right there.
I want to go back to Irene's comment that I see that she put up there about I see the dead and that's energy draining, and also after investigations recuperate my body for a while. I want to address that from the point of view that Gussie and I have been paranormal investigators for many, many, many years now.
I'm a channel.
Yeah. We ran a ghost tour company out of 5 different cities over the course of 10 years. We've exposed ourselves to the paranormal in ways that most people would probably run from. We seek it out through and through. Our lives are dedicated to the paranormal. The reason I'm saying this is when we first started this, when I was doing the ghost tours and telling the stories and interacting with the ghosts, every day I'd come home drained and every day I was tired. After investigations, it would take me several days to get back into the swing of things. Mm-hmm. And that's because I was allowing the energy of the investigation to determine how I flowed rather than me flowing with the energies of the investigation. Mm-hmm. Seeing the dead can be draining.
Working with them can be draining.
Working with them can be draining.
It's draining to, channel their energy and encounter their energy for an empath, because you're feeling and sensing and feeling also what they're trying to send through, and also sometimes what they experience. So it's kind of confusing.
It can be.
Do you think it's draining for them to try and come through to us?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
But over the years, I've learned something about myself, and that is the more shadows I carried within my own spirit, my own heart, my own psyche, the more emotional turmoil that was going on in my life, the harder it was to recoup from an investigation or ghost tour.
Yeah, it's not as difficult now.
You have to do the shadow work. It is so important as a psychic, as an empath, as a paranormal investigator. Whenever you're dipping your finger into the spirit world, it is so important that you don't have things that the spirit world can attach to you on. And they seek out the darknesses, your weaknesses, your fears, your traumas, your biases, all of those things that keep you from being the best version of yourself that you can be. Yeah. Shed yourself of those, and you'll find the investigations will be less draining.
Yeah. Well, I think if you shed yourself of those, you'll find life in general is less draining,
Yeah, absolutely.
Really absolutely.
Yeah. And it gets easier, I think, the more you realize that, we're all immortal beings, and that this is just it's not real. Let's say it. I'm just gonna say it. This life is not really what's real.
Nothing more than
our perception is that it is, but it's not really.
We're spiritual creatures living a physical existence, and in order to do that, we have to manifest the physical through our own intentions.
Yeah.
Everything that we see around us is in some way a reflection of our own creation.
Yes. And our thoughts too. And it's not even just about what we're doing now. It's what we signed up for before we came here,
The sacred contracts.
Oh, and so many people have a hard time hearing that. Yeah. They get so angry.
I would have never signed up.
Why would I sign up for that? That'd be stupid,
I am so
well, what can you learn? What's your takeaway from this? Come on. There's got to be something, And I think when you shed a lot of that stuff like ego and all that, it kind of becomes more clear why we are here,
I am grateful that I finally embraced my sacred contract. I just don't know completely what I signed. But it's fun trying to figure it out.
We're not at the bottom line yet.
Yeah, we're not on the bottom line.
No. We're still reading about.
You haven't quite fulfilled that contract yet, And I think because I used to ask myself questions like, well, why would somebody sign up to be a Palestinian refugee? Well, because they're trying to teach the rest of us the futility of war, you know, or maybe they're trying to, maybe they just want to experience it, you know. It's like
We've got to.
You would go out of your way to experience things, you know, that you wanted to experience, and maybe that's part of it, you know.
There's people in our lives right now, and I don't know if you've experienced this, that will say, it's not my problem, they chose this. This is the life that they chose. It's their problem. Let them worry about it. And to a degree, that's true.
It is. There's no victims.
Right. But on the other side of that, we as society also have to learn to grow from those things that they chose to experience. It's how we interact with those failures, those fears, those wars that determine who we become as a species.
Right.
So yeah, I signed on to be a victim in the hopes that my peer group around me can look at my victimhood and learn from it.
Everybody raise their perspective because of the lesson.
Yes. Yes. I agree with that. Oh, it's my Sally. She's in the house with me, and she's unaccustomed to being in here, so she's a little clingy right now. She wanted to sit in my. She wants to get up on my computer. It's like, so, but yeah, she's one of my familiars.
I said this has been a really fun talk. We've covered a lot of ground.
I know, haven't we? And you know what? I didn't even write anything down. I had no plan about what we were going to talk about. And it always flows like this with you guys. And I think it's just so great. And I really appreciate you coming on. Yeah, I know, right? We are in the same tribe.
I'm glad you reached out to me last year when you did, because
I know.
I was like, you know, I get people texting me all the time, and I was like, who's this Robin person with her purple hair? But no, I reached out, reached back, and just, you've been a kindred spirit ever since. So
yeah,
I'm honored to be part of your path, and you're part of mine.
I know. I feel the same way. I feel like, it was kismet.
It was kismet. Yeah.
And we're birthday. We share the same birthday too. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. And I just met someone else recently
whose
birthday.
Too, right?
No, I think she's a year older than me, right? Aren't you a year older?
Yeah, I'm a year older. Yep. I said I was eating cake when you were being born. I was eating my cake.
She was smearing her face with chocolate frosting when I was coming out.
Yeah.
Irene wants to know how much we charge for our services, and I'm assuming that goes back to the paranormal investigations. For investigations, we don't charge. There's other services that we provide.
House blessings, cleansings.
Whatnot. For investigations, we don't charge. Now, we have been paid to do investigations in the past, but that's for television shows and whatnot, and that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
No, we don't charge for
I know we're having fun, and we're really, sharing a lot of good information with people, but we are over the time limit, and so I got to respect things, schedule, and get off the air right now. But I'm so glad you guys could join me, and I hope that we'll get together again real soon. And good luck with the Purple Door and everything else that you're doing. And you can catch these guys on 420 Tarot. On what days are you on?
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 420 Eastern. Sometimes we're a little late. Right, 420.
That's why we call it 420-ish.
420-ish.
Yeah. Okay, so catch these guys on that, and good night, Irene, and good night, Joanne, and everyone else that's out there with us tonight. Blessed be everyone, and have a great night.
Stay magical.